you have our 1961 summer route, and looking at the map of the whole United States, you can see the tremendous amount of traveling that we did do in those 5 summers. So we were able to go all over our great, wonderful country, and it turned out that that last trip of ours made some news, because on the Saturday, the 8th of July, 1961, the Hartford Courant had a front page article, "Area Family Nears Goal to Camp in Every State. A family of 5 from Wethersfield set off Friday on a trip which they hope will wind up a 5-summer effort to camp in each of the 48 states in the continental United States." Now that's just what we did. Actually, before we really started on the trip itself, we engaged in some warming up exercises to get us all ready for that great Southwest and its many scenic attractions.
Again headed out in our carefully packed Rambler station wagon with the one-wheel trailer behind it, and we wasted no time traveling over the Pennsylvania Turnpike, observing road signs which identified our destination this year as South and West. As usual, we enjoyed wearing homemade matching outfits, which helped give us a sense of family unity. For this longest of our summer trips, David and Daniel had both gotten butch haircuts, which enabled them to put their heads together effectively for solving brotherly problems. Our first new state in 1961 was Kentucky, where we visited the Mammoth Cave National Park, an amazing natural attraction since it was first explored by whites 200 years ago. The giant cave contains more than 150 miles of underground passageways. We joined a tour group descending the steep entrance stairs, and among other wonders experienced a boat ride on the high vaulted Echo River 360 feet below the surface. Also in Kentucky, we visited the log cabin site where Abraham Lincoln was born on February 12, 1809. Then, traveling down through the western part of Tennessee, we stopped in Nashville to see the Hermitage, the beautiful southern mansion which was the home of General Andrew Jackson, President of the United States in the 1830s. As Mary wrote in her journal, you can really learn a lot about a person by visiting their home. At Memphis, Tennessee, we came again to the mighty Mississippi, and this time we crossed this greatest of American rivers into the state of Arkansas. We weren't able to stay very long at the Hot Springs National Park there, but we did stop to feel the warmth of the hot waters rising from 47 natural springs in the park, which have been providing healing therapy for many people for many years. When we reached Fort Smith at the western end of Arkansas, we had the welcome benefit of being able to spend the night at the home of some longtime family friends who had recently moved from Connecticut to Arkansas, Neil and June Cox, and their 4 children, Anna, Kathy, Chip, and Jeff. Having been on the road camping out now for almost a week, we were really ready for some of the less primitive comforts of a modern suburban home. "Would you like to have a home-cooked meal?" they asked us. Put your sleeping bags on a wooden floor, brush your teeth in a private restroom, wash your clothes, take a shower, and get all cleaned up and refreshed for the next part of your trip? We said we sure would. So this time, instead of setting up our tents, the three children just opened up the back of the station wagon, where I had constructed a wooden platform with individual compartments for each of their travel suitcases, and they took out the bags, along with each one's individual toilet kit, to take to the house. Everyone was really tired out from all our long-distance traveling to this point, now midway across the country, but the children did manage to drag themselves into the Cox's comfortable residence for a good long sleep. The next morning, we were all refreshed and everybody was ready to start out again for the continuation of our sightseeing odyssey to the great Southwest. With warm thanks to all of the Cox family, we climbed into our 20th century covered wagon and headed west into our next state, Oklahoma, where the winds come sweeping down the plains and the fields have barbed wire fences wide and far. We stopped to say hello to a couple of buffalo, which were behind a chain fence at the side of the road. Whoops, don't get too close. And then we entered Texas for the first time, stopping to visit the stockyards in Amarillo in the northwestern panhandle part of the state. Amarillo is where they had the world's largest livestock auctions, with cattle like these raised on the range, brought in and kept in various pens until they were auctioned off and shipped to the slaughterhouse to be killed for beef. Seeing these live animals made us wonder about eating the 50-cent hamburger suppers which we often had while on the road. Driving across the line into New Mexico, we immediately realized that this truly was a land of enchantment, with magnificent scenery all around us. For the last part of our way, we had been traveling over the final leg of what had been known in pioneer days as the Santa Fe Trail, one of the chief routes followed by wagon train settlers on their way west from Independence, Missouri. Santa Fe is the capital of New Mexico, and the city maintains its historic connection with the Spanish Southwest through its parks, monuments, museums, and public buildings. It was fun to set our feet on the actual spot identified by this marker as the end of the Santa Fe Trail. In the museum courtyard, the children were interested in a long-ago wagon which had wooden wheels. Some of the buildings, like this ancient house in Old Santa Fe, date back hundreds of years, including the time-honored San Miguel Mission, the oldest church in the United States, having been built around 1540 when the Spanish came up from Mexico. We loved the picturesque Spanish colonial architecture around the city plaza, with pink adobe walls accentuated by the ends of large wooden beams protruding overhead. The historic Palace of the Governors here is a long one-story porch building now housing a museum. Native Americans sold beautiful handcrafted wares along the inner wall. In Santa Fe, we enjoyed the luxury of again staying overnight with friends, this time sharing the lovely hillside home of two fellow educators, Charles and Kay Wood. North of Santa Fe, we had the remarkable experience of entering a whole new world when we visited the Taos Pueblo Indian village. As Mary wrote in her journal, it seemed as if we had come upon a new civilization entirely different from anything we had ever seen before. This still lived-in Pueblo settlement was made up of adobe houses piled one on top of each other like toy building blocks, artfully arranged to a height of 5 stories. For the first time, we had the opportunity to talk face-to-face with Native Americans in their own habitat and to share with them their pride in their continuing contrasting culture perpetuated in this beautiful setting with the Sangre de Cristo Mountains for a backdrop. Moving up into southern Colorado, at a place called Wolf Creek Pass in the San Juan National Forest, we found an isolated wilderness campsite where a sparkling mountain stream was our refreshing morning wash basin. After buying some Western clothes and cowboy hats in Durango, we entered Mesa Verde National Park and drove up the long, winding road to the top of this towering green table. The incredible view from Park Point Lookout brought to life for us the words of Catherine Lee Bates, inspiring him to